Hello, and welcome to Keeper's Corner Podcast, where we're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. With your hosts, as always, Matthew Sterling, Michelle Brooks, and Brandon Brooks. Let's go. Hello, welcome to another edition of the Keeper's Corner Podcast. It is Matt and Brandon only on this one. Brandon, you may want to pour yourself another drink before we get into this, because it is ugly.
I'm way ahead of you on that one.
You know, that old thing from the 90s, UGLY, you ain't got no alibi.
Yeah, this has been, it's been a rough few days. But you know what? I was proud of myself. I did stay up for both games, even though I shouldn't have, because work. And honestly, part of me wishes I hadn't.
Hey, just be glad you didn't, fly to California on 0 hours of sleep to watch a game.
Yeah, but you know what? I guess, let's just talk about that,
Yeah.
Overall, how was the trip?
Oh, fantastic. Even with all the issues that travel has had lately, somehow I had no delayed flights. Got about an hour of dozing in and out on my flights. Got to California, tried In-N-Out Burger. So we did come away with a W this weekend, and that is Five Guys is definitively better. I don't care what you dress that burger up with.
Wow.
You're burying a very mediocre patty with toppings. The burger itself is bland and boring and not deserving of the cult following that it has.
Wow, shots fired. All right.
Yeah. East Coast #1 with the chain patty place, I guess.
I mean,
until I have to try Whataburger.
Yeah, I was just say. To be fair, I haven't been to Five Guys in quite a while, just because it's one of those things. Like, it's pricey, but when you go there, you do get a premium burger.
Yeah.
So anyway, I
In-N-Out, even in California. I spent $6 less than I do at Five Guys, and I could tell that it was at least a $6 less patty.
You get what you pay for.
Yes.
Yeah.
While we're there, Huber gets a text from Philly, asks us to join him for lunch. So we're like, all right, we'll finish this, hop in the car, go over to Lazy Dog. As we're pulling in, we think we see Jonathan Reimer, their color commentary guy.
Mm-hmm.
Park, we go inside. There's Philly and Panda and Reimer. So there's the whole broadcast team for the Ontario Fury.
Okay.
The fourth person at the table, Coach Jimmy Nordberg.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Very good conversation. Talked a lot about the league, just sports in general. Best of luck to Panda on her NFL Fan of the Year. Philly, Panda, enjoy the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no.
Don't have too much fun as Homer's there with the Rams playing. But had a couple drinks, which for me meant lemonade, because
I was going to say, hold the phone here. Wait a minute.
Everyone else had drinks, and I had a liquid that was still technically a drink.
Still technically a drink. Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's not a drink.
It was just not of the alcohol variety.
Good conversation. Good times. They all go to do stuff to get ready for the game. Head back to the hotel. At this point, my hour of sleep in almost 30 hours awake was enough that I passed out before the game for an hour and a half.
Yep.
Go over to the arena. Beautiful arena from the outside. And then we get in. It's probably a 10,000 seat arena. Much bigger than the Odd.
Okay.
And if that place ever got filled, I could imagine it being very, very loud.
Yeah, but that's what you want. You want a loud arena. You want...
Exactly.
In my opinion, it makes games more interesting. It makes games more exciting when you have a bustling crowd like Utica's.
That was one of the compliments Coach Nordberg gave about Utica is it's a small arena, but you guys pack it, and it is loud.
Yep. I mean, granted, there was some hustle and bustle there a little bit, but everything got straightened out in the end. People didn't hate each other after the game. It's tensions get high. It's not the first time that tensions have been high in there. I'm looking at the Harrisburg games of the past, the
Baltimore playoff game.
Exactly. So and I like to think that the crowd kind of contributes a little bit to we
might do our part.
And I don't mean contributes to, causing fights. I just mean, we put a little bit of pressure on both sides. We put pressure on our own guys. We put pressure on the other guys. That's just what we do.
Yeah. Go to the game. Fun first half. We'll get into that more when we discuss the game.
Yes.
Third quarter, Huber goes up to the booth with Reimer. Yeah, they got him media pass.
No, I know about that. That's the reason. I'm going up to that box.
Yeah, everything was fine until he went up there.
Play that changed the game right there. Boom.
Not me switching from my jersey to my Hawaiian shirt because I put that back on in the fourth quarter and it did not matter.
It did not help. No. At that point, the damage is done.
Yeah. Cool experience. These are the upgrades that need to come to the Odd now. I will accept no other excuse or no other upgrade. Is cushioned seats, which was nice because even when I was on the edge of my seat, I didn't have that plastic cutting into my leg, losing circulation in my toes. And cup holders. Cup holders. Even on the boards, they had cup holders.
Oh, that would be so nice instead of keeping it on the floor and trying not to kick it.
Yeah, or between your legs, or just stashed somewhere.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you
how many drinks have been spilled from our aisle just because they're on the floor and then something happens? We get a little excited.
I can think of at least 2 or 3.
I'm thinking of at least a half dozen.
I was thinking this year.
Obviously, game doesn't go the way we're hoping.
That's unfortunately a common theme this year.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Head out. Go grab some Krispy Kreme to bring back. Since there was 1 mile away from the arena or so versus where we're talking 4 hours for us.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of that seems like a reasonable detour.
And then up early, catch my flights, and I'm back here in central New York before the storm even makes the rain start coming in.
Fantastic.
Yeah, about 18 hours in Cali. About half of that was spent either sleeping or in the airport or dealing with my car rental. So in the future, love to go back. Wonderful area. There's some nice mountains off in the distance that I want to go out exploring. Mm-hmm. I just got to make more than 18 hours in Cali.
Yeah, I gotta say I've never flown anywhere, ever. Could be just because I'm afraid of heights. That definitely contributes.
Look, I'm terrified of heights. Terrified. Went to the Grand Canyon as a kid, and we get there, and I look at it, and I'm like, it's a big hole. Can we go now?
Yeah.
No. Parents are exploring, brothers exploring. I'm sitting on a bench with a bag of peanuts that I found sitting there, giving them to a squirrel that's hanging out with me, drinking, pouring water in the lid of my water bottle for it to drink out of, right next to a sign that says, "Please do not feed squirrels. They may carry the Black Plague." I'm like, that's less terrifying than this pit in front of me, so I get your fear of heights.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's different inside the plane, but I know I've got some friends of mine and Michelle's that are looking for us to come visit them in Texas this year. We'll see what happens there. But either way, eventually I'll get out to a game that I don't have to drive to.
I mean, it's different for everyone. My mom's terrified of heights, but at the Grand Canyon, she was fine. But on a plane, she is grip the seats on takeoff, eyes closed, praying under her breath at takeoff and landing.
Yeah.
So that's different for everyone. But that's enough about my trip. Highly recommend it to anyone that can. Ontario looked like a beautiful city. Wish I could have explored more. Let's talk about Sunday's game.
Do we have to?
We probably should, since that's what we do here, is we talk about Utica City.
We can talk.
We haven't even mentioned them yet.
Do we have to talk about the? I mean, we can talk about this. We can talk about the team. Do we have to talk about the games?
I mean, if there aren't games, there's no team.
You have a fair point.
Uh-huh.
All right, I concede.
It's an unfortunate point, but so Sunday's game was the first time they've played San Diego as the Utica City Football Club.
Mm-hmm.
They traveled to Pechanga Arena, which, for one reason or another, has struggled to draw crowds this year. And, Utica, per usual, struggles to score to begin a game. And before the first, it took until there were less than 4 minutes in the first half for Utica to get on the board. And at that point, it was already 5-0.
Yeah. It was pain.
Utica surprisingly won the third quarter, 1-0.
I was going to say they had a fairly strong third quarter. I don't know what exactly was said to them in that locker room in the half, but coach seemed to whip them into shape for at least a full quarter because we held them to nothing, and that was one of our best third quarters, in my opinion. At least this year, especially, definitely our best third quarter, I think, or one of them. Not letting them score, and got to see a Joey goal, which was nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all 3 goals on the game, assisted by Everton Morera.
I was going to wait till you mentioned the third one, but you took my thunder.
The third one there came, a minute 46 into the fourth. It's up for play goal of the week. I don't know if voting's finished on those yet. I haven't looked. But a beautiful, beautiful set piece that faked out everyone in the arena, at home, on the broadcast. Just unbelievable set piece.
The broadcasters could not say enough about that one. That was a beautiful set piece. I did not expect I did not expect that play. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out for yourself.
Masterclass. And then things stay scoreless. And we get to, I think you and I are both going to agree, this is the play that changed the game.
Absolutely.
With just under 10 minutes left in the game, Andrew Coughlin gets called for tripping. They award him a blue card, and they award a shootout to
it was Tavoy Morgan. I
don't remember who gets
check
the shoot.
that, but I'm pretty sure that's who it was.
I'll be honest and upfront, I have not rewatched these games. I was very sleep deprived on my flights.
Charlie Gonzalez took the shot.
Okay.
But I don't think it was against him. I'm almost positive it was not. I'd have to look back at the footage to see who that was actually, who the card was actually for. But Charlie did take the shot.
But yeah, Coughlin stops the shot. Didn't really matter. San Diego scores on the power play with the ridiculous off the glass, off the back of Andrew's head, into the net to Voy Morgan goal. The one where it was like, man, if that's the way things are going to go, this game is over. And with 6 attackers on, that proved to be the case as San Diego nets 2 more. Yeah, I want to talk about that foul.
First of all, Andrew was beating himself up on that one. You could see, he literally jump kicked the boards.
That's an indoor goal and only an indoor goal. And it sucks because that's 2 games in a row. The home game against Ontario, the Vitali own goal off the glass, or that was Baltimore, right?
Yeah, that wasn't. I don't believe we had an own goal for the home Ontario game.
Okay, that one was Baltimore then. Oh right, because I was there for that game. I didn't miss that.
Yes.
But yeah, 2.
Come on, get it right.
I'm honestly still a little tired. But that call, they went to the replay, and even the broadcast team in San Diego were admitting that this was a terrible call. It was all ball. The foot that tripped him was the trailing foot, so it's a clean tackle for the ball. Mm-hmm. Trailing foots happen. They happen outdoor. Like, there are high school referees that get this call right. So here we are again with another game taken out of Utica's hands because the officiating in this league is unacceptable. It's bad. And like, what else is Coughlin supposed to do there?
I mean, I thought he played it exactly the way he was. I mean, he did. It's not that I think he did. He played that exactly how I think he should have played that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know what's going on with the officiating. I mean, it's not just Utica. We're not, it's just not just Utica we're citing either. I mean, we've seen it in other games, and we've seen people voice their opinions about them.
We had the Ontario owner make a press release saying, the league needs to get these officials in line because of player safety.
Yeah.
Because they've had 2 injuries one was a freak accident. Another one wasn't unintentional, but like not penalized on the field.
Mm-hmm.
To all the Sockers fans that were complaining about the penalties handed down from the review committee, and it's a conspiracy to take the Sockers out of things. Shut the F up. Because you got handed a goal literally 2 games later. Like, the only way it could have been easier was if the refs picked up the ball and then we're like, we're going to give you a free kick from here, and it was 6 inches in front of the net, and then they made Andrew stand those 5 yards away.
Yeah, I mean, that's about it. I mean, and I'm assuming the goal that you're talking about was the Ontario one. Correct.
Yes, the one where Pardo came in with a reckless challenge with terrible form on it. Completely unintentional, but he broke Willie Spur's leg.
Yeah. I mean,
it was the most obvious card call I've ever seen, and it did not get called a card.
I mean, I'm looking at the not only that, I'm looking at the Vanzella.
Oh my God!
Basically knee to the head. He was knocked out. You could see that. I mean, he.
There was plenty of time for that other player to like adjust and not run into him.
And I mean, he admitted he was knocked out, but I could see
he said it. He was flat out.
I could see it on the broadcast. He went limp. Like, his arm just went limp.
Willie B got injured in the same game. Like, players are missing time because these referees don't protect them.
So
and it's unacceptable.
Just in case, people out there might be thinking, oh, well, they're just, complaining for Utica. No, it's around the league. Like, yes, we had the incident with Christian in the home Ontario game where, he's down against the boards with potential head injury and it doesn't get called and it ends up costing us the game. Yes, there's that one. But then there's other ones, as I just mentioned, the Vanzella injury, the Ontario incident. Like, it's around the league. It is a league problem. And it's got to get fixed, or somebody's going to get seriously injured.
More so than they already have been.
More so. I was literally
Vanzella's out for a while. He will not be in net this weekend,
which is a huge blow to Baltimore. I mean, I'm not even okay, sure. Normally would us being, of course, they're kind of their rivals, as well as going to be playing them this weekend. Would we necessarily, as fans, be happy that they don't have their primary goalkeeper? Maybe so, but
if it's like a soft tissue injury or
because
like a freak accident, but not something like that. That's something you never wish on anyone. I mean, you don't wish injuries on them ever, but
sure, if they got a red card or something like that and they're out because of that, that's one thing. But when you get freaking slammed like he did, that's just it's not okay. And
like that belongs in an octagon, not on turf.
Yes.
But back to the game, Utica loses 8-3, and then for one reason or another, Jake Schindler goes back to the East Coast, and we don't have our guy that locked down Frank Tayu and go on to play
one of our guys. Because
the other one was Bo, but
I was going to say they were splitting it, which you saw when they didn't have the ability to split that in this game. You saw what happened.
Yeah. Blackwood, sorry, my bad, was tasked with that as his first time in the M1, and that was a task that no one envies, and it went about as well as you would expect.
It was, a first half hat trick for the King.
Yeah.
We didn't have the person that we, necessarily, we didn't have the power couple, we'll say, that we needed to cover him, and we paid for it. Plain and simple.
I want to talk about the injuries here, because so Moya's done for the season. Pat Thompson done for the season. We have no word on what caused Jake to miss this last game. We don't have official word on why Slav has now missed 3 games in a row. We do not have Obasi's been out for a few games now, and we haven't seen Logan really at all. Like, he kind of bounces in and out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a few games for him as well. And I feel like I'm missing someone. No Slav, no Logan, no Pat. I don't know. There was a 6th player. I know there is, and I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I feel like you're missing someone too, and I
know it's in our group chat, and I don't want to go scroll for it. But Utica goes into this game with 6 out of 14 players not expected to be on their roster, not there.
Yep.
So I would have been happy and surprised with a win at that point. And I think most of our predictions are made assuming that these guys that are out for little stints are going to be back, because this league doesn't do anything to give you timetables for injuries or what injuries are, or enforce the injury reports.
Yeah, which I mean, it's not it's not Bush League, but it's not,
it's not professional.
It's not, at the level of other professional leagues that we've seen, not
when you bill yourself as the premier indoor league, and yet, I can't get an injury report. But if I can get better injury reports for the minor leagues for baseball.
Yeah. It's just another gripe that we have that we just kind of have with the league in general.
But again, Utica comes out slow. They go down 2-0 in the first 6-7 minutes. Then Bordeaux gets one back. And Palmer scores. And Tayu scores. Then that beautiful set piece involving Everton and Bo faked me out. I was like, oh my God, you're just going to have Bo just rocket it. And then that little soft touch to Everton.
Threaded the friggin' needle there. That was a gorgeous set piece. Oh,
Can we just trade all power plays for balls at the top of the arc? Because we are better with that than power plays.
That was I'm sorry. That was just, it was so sneaky. It was so unexpected. I don't think I've ever seen them make that play. Like that was a cool play.
We go into the half 5-3. Things look not bad. We come out, we score first. It's 5-4. Everton from Nate. Like Nate's been involved on 2 of these goals. Everton's been involved on 2 of these goals. You got Bo involved. It looks like the offense somehow is kind of coming together and rising to the occasion. And then that was it for a while. And the next time Utica scores made it 10-5.
Okay, we need to talk, though, about the fact that 4 of their goals, 2 and 2, were within 30 seconds of each other.
Yeah.
Because you had 2 goals literally 19 seconds apart, and then 2 more goals that were exactly 30 seconds apart, according to the time.
Yeah. Utica kept getting beat on the fast break. And I know it's injuries, and I know that's why we have all these, we're calling guys out of retirement like Pablo and San Luis. But these guys don't have the speed to compete with the younger guys anymore. And it's like, I see you trying to keep up with them, but you can't.
And to be honest, I had already told you that I didn't want to. There was no play of the chain of the game for me on here. Yeah. I actually retract that. And if you end up, I'm just going to say it now. It was that first 2-pack. I'm going to call it the 2-pack of goals. The first one was like, okay, whatever. It's 6-4. You
trade goals in indoor. It happens.
Yeah. But then when they immediately got another one within 20 seconds, I was just like, okay, that's it. This is going downhill. This is where we start to go down the slope, the drop off. And that's exactly what it was.
And yeah, things went from bad to worse. I think part of it was Wilkin having a bad day. And I think part of it was how much of our defense was cobbed together at this point.
Mm-hmm. We had a lot of our offense playing defense.
Yeah. You had offense playing defense. You had guys fresh off retirement that had barely played with this team playing defense. You had fresh out of M2 going up against the King. Like, it was a game that made him look like he was back in Rochester.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It was an unfortunate. And then even more unfortunately, there is the face save that took him out of the game.
Yeah, that one. I feel like that's been happening more often. People taking soccer balls to the face has been it's been a common theme in recent weeks, I feel.
So do you know how fast these balls can travel off a foot?
Not like, I don't have numbers, no, but I'm just going to say fast.
Up to around 120 miles an hour. That's not the easiest thing to dodge or get your hands in front of. So unfortunately, yeah, you take one of those to the dome, and it's no surprise that Coughlin had to come in.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And Fury just keep piling it on down the stretch. The final score is 15-5. And I will save my officials rant for later when we do our little bonus episode teaser. So we'll cover this, and like I said, I'll call it the stats that don't tell the story. Because if I told you Utica would be within 3 shots on goal of Ontario, as well as have a 3-1 power play advantage, you'd think that'd be a closer game than a 10-goal loss. Those don't come close to telling the story at all.
No, it is. If you did not look at the score and you only looked at those stats, you would think this was a really close game.
And then you go a little farther, and then you're like, oh, the King had 5 goals and 2 assists. Oh, Berto Palmer had 2 goals and 3 assists. And Berto, one, kudos to you for being the only player in the arena that bothered to come over and talk to us at all after the game. It was cut short because arena staff kind of was like, all right, guys, time to head out for the door. But
yeah,
would have loved to meet more of the guys. Even after you just embarrassed my team.
Yeah, it was basically it. I mean, I will be completely honest with you. I did not finish that game that night. Now, granted, it was after midnight here, and I was powering through. I was like, okay, third quarter. All right, yeah, they score. And they score again and again.
I mean, if I wasn't 100 miles from home, I'd pack it up and leave at the end of the third, probably.
And that's essentially what ended up happening. I was watching it with some friends online, and we were just talking about the game. We were watching. I've actually made some people overseas now start watching arena soccer. Which is fantastic, just trying to spread the word. And yeah, unfortunately, I will sit through just about any game. Like if I'm there, I'm not going to get up and leave. End of story. But if I was like, I have to get up and work in the morning, and this is just painful. It was physically painful for me to watch. I couldn't do it. And that surprises me because, like I said, I will sit through just about anything, and it was just really extremely depressing. And I could tell that wasn't just me that felt that. There was a couple times I caught on the broadcast where coach is literally walking up and down the bench and consoling players. Like I watched him. I think I'm pretty sure it was Nate that he just walks up to, puts his hands on his shoulders, and just like, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. Yeah. But to be fair, that is the sign of, that's the sign of a good coach who is just trying to get his players through it and just doesn't know what else to do in that game. In that game, it feels like
in this season, almost like it feels like a lost season at this point. It's unfortunate.
It is.
The hopes were so high coming in.
Yep. But you're going to have them. Like it's like they say, it's darkest before the dawn, right?
Yeah. I mean, they say a lot of things though.
Yeah, I know that. Just let me have this. Yeah, sure. It might not be this season, but Utica will be back. Utica will come back, and we will. I know I can speak for myself, and I can speak for Michelle. We will be there, and we're going to be there even when it's darkest, because we believe in this team, even at their worst. Their worst days, their best days, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll be there as much as I can. Like, even if that means going 2,500 miles from home. So take a pause, pop in an ad here, and Then we'll be back to talk about the roster moves between last week and this week.
I thought you were actually already on the break, and then you said more stuff. That's why I was going like...
And we're back. So, a lot of roster changes over the past 7 days here. Some trades, some free agent signings, some happy unretirements.
I look at the one for Utica as the silver lining of the weekend. Or the week, I should say. Mm-hmm. Because, just coming off of the loss that we did and then finding out some good news. I call it good news because, listen, we had a chant for the guy. Okay. When that man scored, we had a chant. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, so I'm just going to lead it off. Like, we got Lucio Gonzaga is coming back to Utica, which, yeah, some people are going to say, oh, it's another old man. But I'm sorry.
Skill-wise, he and Everton match up pretty well. And
yes,
there's reasons to be excited, and there's also reasons to be skeptical.
And when he was here, he was an opportunity maker, and it's only been a couple of years since he was here. And, he made a lot of things happen on the field, and that's what we need. We need someone to make something happen.
Yeah, shot creators are certainly needed at this point.
Yes. That was something that we expected from I think I can speak for all of us when I say that we really expected that to come from Slav.
Yeah.
In reality. However, we just haven't seen that.
No.
We really have not seen that.
But in that trade, we also got one other player back, most likely to help fill the hole left by Moyes' injury. We're very familiar with him for playing on the Baltimore Blast.
Say, what do you mean back?
We got him back in the trade. Like, we sent them 2 guys, they sent us 2 guys back.
I'm gonna say at least since we've been Utica, we have not had this man.
And well, what do we know about this man besides he has the best mustache in the MASL?
Say the mustache of a god.
Straight from a showdown in the 1850s out west. Coming straight from Main Street, that noontime showdown, Andrew Hoxie joins the Utica City Football Club.
I never thought I would hear those. I never thought I would read those words. I never thought I would hear you say them. I cannot believe that Andrew Hoxie, who we have heckled heavily in the past, we will now be cheering for. And he will be accepted, at least by us, immediately. Like, just come here.
Look, in the words of the great John Sterling, no relation, that's baseball, Susan.
It is. You're not wrong. I mean, that's the league. That's any league. And I mean, you're gonna hate him one day and cheer for him the next. And that's exactly what this is. I mean, yeah. I never would have expected this.
Well, here's some other words you might not have expected. In this trade, Utica sends Alan Carventura Jr. and Ricardo Diegues, who is expected to be cleared to play with a visa in February as soon as the 12th. Which,
yep.
Yeah, I mean, when we need offense, Ricardo would have been a great offense to add. At the same time, it feels weird to say that Florida can get a visa for him when Utica can't.
Well,
if that doesn't tell you a lot about the visa system, then I don't know what does.
And, we've been speculating back and forth on this one as to what the heck's been, how they got that to happen. My personal thought on it was just, maybe it's simply because, he played there, when he had his active visa and then got traded to Utica, he was on Florida. So this could, maybe it's in some strange way, it's a reestablishment of that visa, or maybe not a reestablishment, but a renewal, we'll say, versus, once he got traded and then we had to establish a visa, it was starting from the ground up. I don't know that. I am complete speculation. I could be wrong 100 ways to Sunday, but we don't have any information, and so that's all we have is speculation.
Yeah, look, I'll just say this, Tommy Tanner, if you want to talk to a fan besides Matt Huber, we would love an explanation. You can either come on or you can just reach out to us on social media and just drop that little tiddly bit in there for us. Also, I feel really weird saying tiddly bit, but I just said it again.
I'm just going to let that linger for a minute and not even try and help you out right now.
Well, I guess we have a tiddly bit more signings to get to.
God. I hate it here. I want to go home.
Bad news, you're already there. This is video. So the other signings, we'll start with last week's. We saw all of them in games over the weekend. And those were Stephane Saint-Louis.
Which,
excuse me,
was, and he was entertaining to watch for sure. At first we didn't see much out of him. Then we started to see a little bit of action. He had that really nice, basically solo goal that just breaking ankles. It was great to watch. I can't wait to see more out of him.
Yeah. We also added Pablo da Silva, who coached the Dallas Sidekicks for 3 games before being fired this season. And then we added Kevin Blackwood from the Cleveland Crunch.
Mm-hmm.
He's the rookie that was tasked with the unenviable challenge of guarding Taiyu one-on-one.
I was going to say that's a David versus Goliath scenario.
Yeah. Blackwood's a pretty big guy in his own right, but Taiyu is a lot bigger in person than you think on camera.
And he's
and I don't mean big like me big. I mean big like Derrick Henry big.
Well, that, and he has talent. Like he can move, he can groove. That man is good on his feet. Fast getting down the field, can break some ankles, and just heavy hitter.
The other signings came on the same day as the trade with Florida, and unfortunately, they don't have pronunciations, so I will apologize in advance if I slaughter their names. Both come via the Cleveland Crunch. The first one is Samuel Mutumwa. He, so far this season in M2 with 5 games played, has 4 goals and 4 assists. And the other one is Gabriel Pewu. He has 5 goals and an assist in 4 games. So more offense added to the team, which needs offense badly. We need defense badly too, but hopefully some of those guys come back from injury and shore that up.
we've got a lot of parts. We got a lot of spare parts, but we just need a way to put them together. We need something to, we need those parts to start working together. Plain and simple.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem at this point in the season. Is it's not just, it's not shaking off the rust anymore, because every time it looks like we're starting to right a ship, someone else gets injured, and all of a sudden we're throwing more guys in that have never played with the team, and they have different styles of play. They're not quite meshing, and they're not meshing immediately.
And no matter what we hope for, nobody's gonna mesh immediately.
No,
it doesn't matter. Even if you've played together before, it's not gonna happen.
Like I compared them when I was talking with Huber to the 2013 to 2015 Yankees. There are a lot of guys that have a great resume, but they are past their prime, and they just, they can't compete with the younger guys in the game anymore. And it's unfortunate, but that's what we have for this final stretch of the year.
So real quick, I did find some crunch game footage, and I was just trying to find out the pronunciation.
Okay.
And I believe you got it right.
On both of them?
No, on Samuel's.
Mutemwa.
Mutimwa. Like
Mutimwa.
That's how they pronounced it on the announcer. So,
well, gentlemen, if you find us at 72, we're more than happy to say hello and get correct pronunciations.
Yes, correct us. Punch Matt, but correct us.
I don't want to get punched. I'm still tired.
It'll dull the pain. It's fine.
No, because by then it'll be the middle of February or the end of February. I should be fine. I think I'll be okay in 20 days.
Don't sleep between now and then.
I might go crazy.
I mean, we're already there.
Hopefully at this point, some practice with these guys, some practice with the other vets that were brought in, and everything can mesh, and then we can go back to competing in games like we were before 4 more guys disappeared from the roster. Shots. You don't look like you enjoyed that.
Listen, I haven't enjoyed a lot of things lately. Life has been pain.
Hopefully these guys can get worked in and be ready for Saturday, when Utica travels down to CQ Arena,
Baby Field,
to take on our old familiar foes, the Baltimore Blast.
So I did some digging this past week. I was trying to familiarize myself, as I've been trying to do all season, more than I have in the past with the league. I've been always coming at the podcast from a casual fan perspective, erring towards the side of obsession. Something along.
Are you about to go down the Huber hole? I should have not phrased it that way. I'm not cutting that.
Put that explicit warning on now. Take me to dinner first.
No, it's the Huber hole. He'd have to take you to dinner. You'd have to take.
Anyway,
are you talking that level of fandom?
I'm fine. Anyway, no, I've been exploring more into looking into the actual, looking into the rules, trying to understand more about the rules, trying to understand more about formations, and watching these teams shift from man to man versus zone. Thanks, coach. Things like that. And another thing, what I did start exploring and what I was looking into this weekend was literally the size of fields.
Mm-hmm.
And I did see that we're not the biggest field. We are a few, I don't know if I couldn't remember if the measurement was in feet or yards or whatever. But ours was a little bit shorter than some of the other ones that were like 200 by whatever it is, 85, something like that. I don't remember the exact dimensions, to be completely frank with you.
Do you know why ours is a tiny bit shorter?
I do not. Maybe you can inform me.
Okay. Next time you're at the home game, look at the wall right in front of us. On the far end, there's that opening behind the wall.
Ah, yes.
But on our end, the seats go right up to the wall. So to fit the net in, they have to have a temporary wall put up that takes a few feet away so that the goal can go on the turf.
Okay. Yeah.
Whereas at the other end where the Zamboni comes in, where the ice machine comes in, there's the opening and the goal can hang out the backside.
Yeah. But yeah, like I found the stat again and I was really surprised. I'm like, okay, so ours is 195 by 85. And yes, we're talking about the sizes of fields because why not? But this is how far the delving into, trying to learn more and understand more just how much different field size is in this league. Mm-hmm. And I mean, a lot of them are, the 200 by 85, 200 feet by 85 feet. Like a lot of them are like that. Utica's 195 by 85. We still have the width, but not the length. And honestly, one of the most narrow fields is Tacoma with only 80 feet on the sides and 200 feet long. So it's actually the most narrow field in the league. And then you've got there's only really one other outlier besides Baltimore, which is Monterey. And their field is 180 by 85 and a third.
That's weird because Monterey's not in the league this year.
I know, but it's still there. It's still listed.
Is Chihuahua? Because I saw... Chihuahua
is listed, but it does not have any statistic.
Okay, because I didn't catch the games there, and I haven't really watched any or planned on it, being their West Coast team, and the broadcast is in Spanish, but I do know... Which makes it hard as someone just trying to watch other teams play.
It does, unfortunately.
It's different if your team's there and you're like, okay, I know who these guys are.
Mm-hmm.
But when Ontario goes down, I may watch because their broadcast crew, they're sending Philly and the doctor down to do an English broadcast.
Oh, fantastic. Those two are always, even when we're losing as bad as we were, was very entertaining.
Oh, it's a great broadcast crew. Great people. You get a chance to meet them, absolutely do it.
Yes.
I told them they ever come to the East Coast, they're welcome in 212.
I do regret not coming on to the podcast the night that you were with Philly, but I was also in bed. I was tired and I needed to work in the morning. So
that's fine. It was a late one. I was up till like 1 a.m. when I finally put everything online.
But anyway, since we are talking about Baltimore, I wanted to see just how much of a difference. Like we always talk about them having the smaller field. I never knew just how small until I looked at the stat. Mm-hmm. Do you know this? Have you looked at it?
I haven't looked at it, but I've seen it in person.
It is 50 feet. It is 200 or 150 by 85. It is 50 feet shorter than any other field. Or I should say 45 feet if you count Utica, or 30 feet if you count Monterey. But compared to a standard field, it is that much shorter, which is just, that whatever. It's nothing really, but I never realized how short that field is until I looked that up.
You wanna know what's good about that short field?
You don't.
Breakaways aren't as long which gives your older guys who are going to burn out faster a better chance of keeping up.
Yes. It could pay dividends for
Do you know
Utica.
why that field is so small?
Do
you know anything about the arena?
Unfortunately, I have not. Listen, I've not gone down that far.
Okay. Well, okay. It's a basketball arena, college basketball.
Okay.
So to fit that in there and meet the league minimum, the bleachers that get pulled out to make the lower level, they can only pull out one end and one side.
Okay.
The side that the benches are on, you can see the flat wall behind them. And on the broadcast, it is the side to the left end. Also has the seats back.
Okay.
So most of their crowd is up above where you will not see them ever.
I did not realize that. Okay.
No, I have the broadcast backward in my head because they film from the other side. So it'll be on the right end, and directly underneath you where the benches are is where the... Now I'm starting to doubt because I
was going to say, now you're just confusing me here.
Whatever. All you need to know is that only half the seats are out in the bowl.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We can leave it at that. Now we've taken everyone else down the rabbit hole with us for various things.
But yeah. So how do you feel about the game Saturday, 6:00?
Well, as we already talked about, they will be without their primary goalkeeper. They will be without Vanzella. I'm pretty confident in that anyway. I mean, he's going to be out for a while, I would assume. I believe that's what he said on social media, is that he will be out. We wish him the best, obviously, because, like I said, that was a hell of a hit he took.
Yeah, and if you're out for the time that he's talking, it's not a concussion to be taken lightly.
No, they never should be taken lightly anyway.
No.
Yeah, concussion's a concussion. I mean, if you look at these two teams on paper this year, you would never think that they were as close of rivals as they usually are. I mean, you look at the goal differential. I mean, the Baltimore's +5 were -36. Now that got padded a little bit after the Ontario game, but
yeah, and that Florida 10-3, and
those
two games account for almost half of our goal differential.
But across the board, though, I mean, our goal average is a little bit lower. Our power plays and our penalty kills are about the same. You know, power plays, we've always struggled every year. We've always talked about this. And, you know, we're sitting around 20%. They're around 33 for power plays. For penalty kills, we are 60 and they're 57. So we're literally pretty deadlocked when it comes to, again, on paper. Now, looking at how things have been for Utica, and of course now having new bodies coming into the mix, I'm sure that they are, you know, maybe Lucio comes back and meshes, you know, perfectly fine as he did. Hoxie has never played with, I'm not going to say he's never played with any of these guys, but he's never played with this team as a whole. The closest I think he's gotten was he played for Rochester way back in like 2014. So, you know, it's going to be a bit of a different, it's going to be different trying to integrate him into the roster. It's going to come with its own challenges, just like it always does, or just like it always would when you're bringing new blood in. And of course, we have the other two as well that we're going to be bringing in. That, you know, it's going to be interesting. And this is something we've done pretty much every week. You know, it feels like we've been bringing in new people, which, you know, again, really affects the meshing of players. And I understand, you know, I understand what they're doing. They're trying to figure out what they need to do to win. but it's going. I think it's going to be, it's going to be a factor this weekend. I think we see potentially just as many mistakes as we have previously from our guys, unfortunately. What I really don't want to see is the mistakes happen from our veterans, our Nate Bordeaux's, our Bows, our Christians, our Joeys. We don't need to see those mistakes. And if they don't make mistakes, it will help to make the others not make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from the Baltimore side, I don't think that they have anyone out other than Venzella. So, I mean, it's just going to be your typical. I don't want to say your typical Baltimore, but yeah, pretty much. It's going to be what we would expect from Baltimore. I think this weekend. You can't write off their secondary. Hausler, I think his name is. Maybe I said his name wrong. I'm looking at it and I don't know how to say it. So Zach Hausler. That's what we're going to go with. We're definitely not going to write them off. And of course, you do have, you've got Diesel, you've got Santana, Mello,
Max Ferdinand. Roquet's been having
they've been having a good season. They've got some heavy hitters, and if you don't do something about them, they're going to continue to be heavy hitters. So, we're going to have to kind of focus on them a little bit, but not like what we needed to do with Tayu.
So Hausler is their backup to their backup. He was signed because of Vanzella's injury.
So Zierhofer is going to be in goal. Okay.
And that one's much easier for you to guess the pronunciation on because you got it right.
Yeah, I kind of just figured on that one. I took a quick look at it and okay, yep, makes sense.
He's only played 5 games in the past 3 years.
Well, that's because Vanzella's stellar.
Yeah.
So I mean, but
he made 6 saves in this last one and didn't give up a goal. So
yeah, he has a perfect save percentage right now. Let's break that, please. But
let's shatter it. Let's make it 23%.
Even if he made it 0 this game, he's still going to have a 0.5.
No, because that would just mean we went 6 for 6. Let's go 20 for 20.
Oh, you want to break them?
I just want to see life.
Fair enough.
Show me that this last week hurt and you're not going to take anymore and you are just going balls to the wall.
I almost started saying
it's an indoor pun.
I mean, they're coming off of a split series with Harrisburg. Mm-hmm. They lost one, they won one, which I was semi-surprised watching those two games, or at least watching the first one. I don't think I saw the second one, but I watched the first one and I was very surprised by that result. But they're coming off of a split series with them. And frankly, I don't think it has any bearing on this game. I really don't.
No.
Other than what happened to Vanzella. So all that just means is we're probably going to see a more defensive heavy Baltimore. We're going to see them, being on, basically we're going to see them do what Utica did against Ontario. We're going to see them trying to be very defensive in this game and, capitalizing where they can. So it's definitely, listen, they're always a fun one to watch between these two teams. And of course, we're going to have, I hope we will have Hoxie playing, which, he came from Florida, but he was on Baltimore the last time we necessarily played against him. And that might be a little bit interesting too, because he will know a little bit about their defense and how they play, so they know how he plays. So it could be I can't say it enough. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm hoping to see some life, and just like everyone else. I'm rambling. I apologize.
No, please. I'm just still a little
yawning.
It's my trips, man. That lack of sleep. I'm not the kid I was in college.
I know that feeling all too well.
Do you have a prediction for this game?
Do I have to?
No, because we don't know what our backline is going to look like. And if our backline is, I'm sorry, but Pablo and Blackwood and Pereira and Vitali, we're losing this game easily. Like another 10-5 kind of loss.
Yep.
Nothing against those guys. But Pereira is kind of that veteran guy on the sideline who, when he's kind of learning the coaching ropes from what I can tell. Steps in when he needs to, but more of a on the roster assistant coach type of guy.
Yep.
Pablo had some fire, had a very obvious blue card. I don't know how well his style of play meshes into Utica's. You can kind of tell he's very conservative. But I like him on the field. He's clearly a field general. He's on there when the ball's at his foot. He is directing traffic.
Yep.
Blackwood has a lot to show for us still. He had one game and it was against Frank Tayu.
Yeah,
can't take too much out of that.
No, I mean he had a insurmountable task there. We gave him an impossible task, and he did what he could with it.
Vitali has had a better season than his first year in Utica was rough. I don't know what happened because he was like defender of the year for the team a few years before that when in Syracuse.
Yep.
But 2 years ago he was solid, and he's looked very solid again this year.
He has been doing whatever he can to fill the shoes that were left by Toby.
He almost had that goal in Ontario, and I would have lost my mind. Like 2 lasers from Vitali. Oh, I don't know why I keep forgetting about Ben Raymond. Maybe it's because he just goes out there and he does work. Like him and Nate have been the MVPs of the team this year.
Yep. Ben kind of, as you said, he does work, but he's kind of tried, he's been somewhat of the opportunity maker.
Yeah.
He's made things happen. I have to say one thing about one player in particular who has really leave him on defense, and that's Bo. I can think of one play in particular where even though we were down, I think it was before they, it was shortly before
the onslaught.
It was shortly before Wilkin took a ball to the face.
Okay.
And it was Tayu basically on a breakaway. And I just all of a sudden see a blue and black streak coming by, and it's Bo just intercepts the ball, gets it away from him, breaks up the play. Like, leave him on defense, please. He hasn't, obviously it hasn't completely helped, but that's because he's not on the field all the time. If you split shifts between him and Schindler, our defense is...
Those are 2 very big guys you have to account for getting past.
Yes. And, I'm not saying anything against him on offense, but I have seen him shine on defense over these past few games, and I would love to see him continue.
As much as our offense is hurting, I think our defense is hurting more with injuries.
Yes. And I really believe that he is what we need right now on defense. And maybe that's why, why we've got Hoxie now, is to fill that hole on offense so Bo can be back on defense. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm getting tongue-tied. I apologize.
Okay.
I sincerely believe that Bo will do great things for us on defense this year. And I believe, he was previously on defense, if I remember correctly.
I believe years ago, yes.
Yes. But, he shows it. He has been showing it over these past few games.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a force to be reckoned with back there. And I would love to see him continue to be on defense.
Yeah, this game keys on defense, especially in a short field.
Agreed.
Shots come a lot faster. They come a lot more frequently. They come a lot from a lot closer.
Well, that's because there's not much field.
Most likely, I would imagine we see Andrew in goal. Matt said Brian appeared to be in good spirits on Wednesday, but he got his bell rung pretty good. They went straight to concussion check, and yeah.
Not only did he get his bell rung, he just had a rough game. In general,
I've gone unconscious from a head injury snowboarding, and it is very confusing and kind of scary when you wake up. Because you're just like, why? What happened? I don't know if it worked for you, how it went for you, but the few seconds leading up to the blackout were also gone.
So it was not snowboarding for me. Mine was actually a soccer ball. I was on our junior varsity team in high school, also playing defense, and basically what ended up happening is someone was coming down the field, did a little defensive maneuver, basically turned, took a shot, and I took it directly to the front of my face, square in my face. It literally reeled me around 180, but somehow I was able to turn around, take 3 steps, and fall flat on my face. I was out. I don't remember any of. Actually, I've been able to piece it together since then, but I didn't remember any of that. And I was told later that I was out for a good 60 seconds. And I woke up, and the first thing I did was I jumped up and started running down the field as if nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, because you didn't realize you were out.
I had no idea what happened. I had no idea how long I was out. It was literally the first. I can say, at least as far as I remember in my life, it was the first time I had ever been knocked unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And so it will always stick in my memory. And so, I know what it's like to get knocked out, and it sucks.
Yeah. Mine was out at Gore Mountain. My buddy washed out on ice and slid in front of me, and I clipped his board. And that's when I blacked. I don't remember anything after that until I woke up.
Yep.
I was informed that I hit his board, went airborne, somersaulted, went off the trail, and hit a tree with the side of my head. And I woke up, and I'm laying in powder, facing downhill on the trail, completely disoriented at this point, laying next to a tree, and struggling in all this snow to try to get up to get my bindings. Luckily, there were a couple of friends behind us that were able to take care of us. Surprisingly, I got cleared to go down the mountain, no problem. Like, swing by the med tent or med hut, just get checked for a concussion there. Because my neck and spine didn't hurt. My buddy's neck hurt. He got taken down on a sled. And then they sent him to the hospital for a concussion. And then he missed like 4 weeks of basketball.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, they're like, no, you're fine. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I'm lightly concussed.
I don't think I'm fine. But
that's just because, or it might have been just pure shock. Like you go into that medical state shock, and like,
yep.
I was kind of numb to everything. Like, yeah, my buddy just got taken down on a sled, and I was unconscious, and they're letting me ski down this or snowboard down this mountain, and that doesn't feel right.
No, it does not.
And I didn't know where the med hut was, so I'm just sitting in the cafeteria with our gear, waiting for someone to come find me for 20 minutes.
Yep.
Before I get a phone call about like, oh, are you lost? Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
Like, it's the building to the right when you come down the hill, so like go out the door and look to the left. Ah. Yeah. No, they're scary moments, and they need to be taken seriously.
Yes, they do.
So hopefully Wilkins okay. Hopefully Vanzella will be okay in the long term, and hopefully Utica gets this win.
That's what we need something. I mean,
I'll take just an overtime loss. Let's get a point, please.
Yes. I mean, the last time we got a point was,
December.
I was going to say about, 8 games ago? We're on a 7-game loss streak.
Uh-huh.
So.
Since Harrisburg.
Yep.
Florida, Baltimore, Ontario, San Diego, Ontario. I feel like I know I'm missing one in there.
Did you say Milwaukee?
I did not say Milwaukee.
There you go. There it is.
There, yeah.
In other words, pain.
But that's all we have for this episode. I hinted at it. There will be a little bonus once, so watch for that. And until next time, I'm Matt.
My name Brandon.
We thank you for listening. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to us so you never miss an episode. If that podcast app also has reviews, be sure to leave us 5 stars to let us know how we're doing and reach a larger audience. It really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Keeper Corners Pod. And you can always find us there talking UCFC soccer. Thanks again for the support. It's truly appreciated. One last thing. Go Utica.